we are starting the session, and we will have morning. There's a keynote speech by Xiao Guojin, and then we will have some more papers after a coffee break. And in the afternoon, we will have workshops in the research center. So it won't be here. It will be in ITM, which many of you know. Those who don't know, just follow us because we will go first for lunch anyway. And then from there we walk. Now, Professor Xiao Guojin is the president, you already know, of the International Council for Philosophy and Human Sciences, is also an expert on epic literature of traditional societies, is from the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, and he has a major role also in connection with UNESCO for World Intangible Heritage. So it has anthropological, ethnological approach combined also with a philosophical approach and an heritage approach. And it's the third time out of the next 35 times he will come to Portugal in the next 3 years. So thank you very much for being here.
This is a topic, how tangible and intangible cultural heritage join hands with social media. This is actually a simple one. I give you a few cases. It's not about something theoretical from paragraph to paragraph, but bring you a few cases. Let's see how tangible and intangible cultural heritage join hands with new social media. The Forbidden City is a palace complex in central Beijing, China. The former Chinese emperor imperial palace from the Ming Dynasty to the end of the Qing Dynasty. That is from 1420 to 1912. It now houses the Palace Museum, world's biggest museum. The Forbidden City served as the home of emperors and their households, as well as the ceremonial and the political center of Chinese government for almost 500 years. The Forbidden City was declared a World Heritage Heritage Site in 1987 and is listed by UNESCO as the largest collection of preserved ancient wooden structures in the world. This is a bird eye photo. It's a World Heritage. And here I give you a few examples followed. We see that the Palace Museum used TV film, like documentary TV film and the reality show, and their mobile PC book, printed book, to promote like puzzle game, mobile game, emoji, and online shop. And then on-site exhibitions, festivals, and even food service. This is a very popular documentary film called Masters in Forbidden City. It's surprisingly, so many young people is so fond of this movie. So you see, it is called bullet screen. So many people leave their messages on the screen, talked about very in a huge scale, and about 15,000 young professionals try to switch their professional career from their own work to try to be someone working in the Forbidden City to repair these relics and antiques. It's a very interesting phenomenon. This is the film. This is a reality show. It's called New Arrival, Forbidden City. New Arrival, Forbidden City is a reality TV show. In each episode, different celebrity as a new product development officer follow the Forbidden City experts into the palace treasures, explore the history and culture of the Forbidden City, and design a fashion item with famous designers and college design students. It's very popular too. You see needlework and jade and some other things. This is a puzzle game. This puzzle game is an interactive puzzle game book. It's a printed book, and also the game contains more than 30 interlocking puzzle missions through the mobile app that is compatible with the book reading. The player can make choices in the game and the story, and even determine the fate of the protagonist. There are hidden plots in the game. It is very interesting. And the first week, if I'm correct, about 20 million. The sale is a huge amount of money for the Forbidden City. And experts working with, professionals working with Gugong, the Forbidden City experts, developed this game for about 6 months. And it takes normally 6 hours to go through all the puzzles. It's a huge, attractive thing. And also you see some other information about the puzzle game. This is a mobile game. It is called the 千里江山图, 1,000 li of rivers and mountains. 1 li is about half kilometers. That is Chinese measurement. And the painter is Wang Ximeng, late 11th to early 12th century Song dynasty. And it's a hand scroll, ink and color on silk. You see the size. And you see they developed a game, mobile game. Based on this painting. Some plots is very interesting, like a broken bridge. You need to repair it and so forth. It's a game. Then emoji. This is a conceptual attempt, but it has produced a lot of similar emoji on social media in China. Serious content has been deconstructed, and in a country with a long history like China, the significance is enormous. We see some Emperor, Ming Emperor.
大家好，你们可以叫我老朱，出入都做交替，有时会保护。你知道我就是大明的皇帝，日理万机，真的没有那么容易。皇后我有一个，后宫妃子3000，大家都很羡慕我，快活似神仙。但是管理江山要比好多境界，生活应该时间时刻迎来一些改变。插着我的充电宝，刷着我的朋友圈，手机里面就像我的乐园。QQ、WeChat 也 I love that， 我还要继续安装更多的 app。我的表情包你买不到，各种自拍的角度我最爆。如果你有新的东西要让我知道，发来我的邮箱，我会 check it out。Next idea， 如果你有想法，那就过来玩吧。有我老朱在，愉快玩耍，梦想就让它生根发芽，总会闯出一片天，把新主义孵化，秀出你的作品，看见你的实力，给你更大的舞台，发挥你的创意，实现你的想法，看看谁更给力，点入这个地址，这是真的旨意。
This is a program launched by Tencent together with the Palace Museum. The program called Next Idea. Ask youngsters to register and to bring their idea and go into the real Palace Museum to see those antiques, paintings, and so forth, and try to find some inspiration and do this kind of emojis. It's very popular for smartphone users. This is not so good. I mean, the web design is poor, but it's interesting. It's online shop.
Earphones mimicking the beads worn by officials.
This is a phone earphone.
Parasol hats resembling the headgear worn by Qing ministers. And imperial fans inscribed with the words of Emperor Yongzheng, which reads, "That's the kind of guy I am." These are some of the cultural and creative products for sale at the Palace Museum's online store on Chinese e-commerce marketplace Taobao. The store also sells other souvenirs and products, such as t-shirts, Manchu dolls, and cheeky luggage tags. These fun and cute products, which marry historical legacy with modern sensibilities and technologies, bring an ancient culture closer to the general public.
The museum designs cute souvenirs to attract more visitors to take home the culture of the Palace Museum. These items make an ancient culture more accessible to the general public.
And it's not just at the Palace Museum's physical and Taobao store that you can find these trinkets. The Cultural and Creative Studio, opened in September 2015, also stocks them as well. Located near the exit of the museum, the studio has more than 7,000 products for sale. They are arranged according to 8 different categories based on the museum's collections, such as books, ceramics, and clothing.
This product, for example, is inspired by an old piece here at the Palace Museum. The original one was used by an empress. The pattern was very chic for that time and represents good wishes.
This is the last hall people visit when they leave. It will be a space where visitors can get a deeper understanding of the Palace Museum.
This is the director of the museum.
Souvenirs, but more importantly, a place where visitors better understand the traditional culture of the Forbidden City.
The Palace Museum has also developed apps to introduce famous ancient paintings and royal life. Visitors are able to learn more about the era and understand how life
The Forbidden City is an invasive transformation. Want to use the internet and new technology to share the Forbidden City's rich cultural heritage with the broader population using creative ways. This way, young people will take more interest in China's traditional culture.
The Palace Museum has developed more than 9,600 kinds of cultural products, and its sales surpassed 1 billion yuan in 2015. Jennifer Shang, CGTN.
And the slogan is 把故宫带回家, literally means bring back the Palace Museum to your home. So a lot of articles of daily use have been developed and redesigned. Exhibition. This is a very famous painting. You see, it's about 25 meters long. It's one of the most famous painting in Chinese art history. It's called Along the River During the Qingming Festival, also known by its Chinese name as the Qingming Shanghe Tu. It's a painting by the Song Dynasty artist Zhang Zeduan from 1085 to 1145. It captured the daily life of the people and the landscape of the capital, Bianjing, present-day Kaifeng in Henan province, during the Northern Song Dynasty. The theme is often said to celebrate the festive spirit and worldly commotion at the Qingming Festival. The painting is considered to be the most renowned work among all Chinese paintings, and it is called China's Mona Lisa. You see, it is in 2015, the Forbidden City have this piece of art exhibited in an exhibition, and the audience line up all night waiting for a visit until about 4 o'clock in the morning. All the Palace Museum staff waiting there to bring them hot water and to serve them to finish this exhibition. It's a huge event. And not only the exhibition, you see this, 3D, based on the painting. It's VR technology. It's a lengthy one. Oh. This is original painting. Oh, I don't know how to make it zoom in. To make it bigger. You see a lot, hundreds of thousands figures, horses, and
I think that if you want to do zoom, you have to do SE.
okay, probably you could see. Yeah, it's general.
You want to do?
Yep.
You do like this. And here.
Yeah. Oh, it's not so.
It's not, it's,
Yeah.
then if you want to return it, just.
This is a festival. They bring people's activities into this Forbidden City. In the year 2019, the Lunar New Year, they prepared and launched this, they call it light show. This is the Palace Museum hot pot. It's it's interesting. A lot of young people love to come to here, have a hot pot, lamb and Qing food, the emperor's food, in the Forbidden City. The Palace Museum launched quite some interesting programs, and after that, some other cultural heritage and cultural relics in China have entered the contemporary life following these samples. This is a Dunhuang Mogao cave. The exhibition is in Hong Kong again. Using new technology to demonstrate the Buddhist art. This is known as Zhonghuang or Mogao Cave. It is a hard work, a challenge to control the tourists' number every day. And eventually they took a lot of pictures, digital images, and rebuilt. This is in the Hong Kong Heritage Museum. Some interesting links.
Digital printout of the original mirror in the cave, so it can truly reflect the content of the mirror, so that visitor they can appreciate the art and culture.
This piece of stone is more than 1,300 years so far.
When we do business in Korea and China, Dunhuang was the gateway to ancient China. You see the Indian influence, Persian influence, Greco-Roman influence, Chinese civilization reflected in the mirror. Dunhuang is the crossroad of ancient civilization. And this is in comparison to Hong Kong being the gateway to modern China.
My students like this piece of film very much. To design by yourself and online to design a silk scroll calf. This is a phone app. You could order it anytime, anywhere. You could choose some certain theme and a pattern, and then compose or design your own product. You see some samples. You could choose and combine with your own idea. It's very popular too. This is also a very funny. Like Hollywood film, museum night. TikTok, it is very popular media, especially very popular among youngsters. They love this kind of products. Hundreds of thousands of visits every day. That's relics and antiques and some tangible heritage. And also intangible, like use WeChat. Some most popular social media in China, the WeChat is. Now the monthly users is about 1 billion, something like that. 1 billion, or more than 1 billion users. To safeguard endangered oral traditions such as the He people's epic Yima Kan. He language is extremely endangered. Only about less than 10 speakers, native speakers. Now they use WeChat, organized a few groups, exchange information, teach each other the endangered language, and so forth. and also to teach ICH skills and sell products via TikTok and most influential social media in China, and to raise visibility of enormous amount of ICH items via various social media. I give you very few examples. This is ICH, Intangible Cultural Heritage, on TikTok. TikTok is very, very common, very popular. This is something about needlework or making umbrella or some other things like that. Yeah. And also on social media, you see on left, it is ICH bureaus and practitioners registered on this social media. And they got a lot of attention. And people purchase their products like paper card, Chinaware, and clothes, traditional costumes, and so forth online. Well, this is a few points I raise. One is bring antiques and relics close to people, like they bring the Palace Museum back to home, and as resources of artistic innovation and articles of daily use. You see the Palace Museum, those products, and draw young generations' interest and attention, and open some new ways to access to history and tradition, like that puzzle game. Each game has something historical event or knowledge or person and so forth. So when you play this online game, you learn history. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes, Laurent?
Sorry. Yes, to what extent, in some way, in the first video media, there is a distortion of history? You know what I mean? To what extent professional historians or art historians are involved in the... particularly the video?
Like that Qianli Jiangshan Tu, that mountain and rivers, that painting. A lot of historians and experts in Google, the Palace Museum itself. The Palace Museum has a huge group of experts. We call it a research center or something. They work together with those IT professionals.
And they monitor all the process.
Yeah. So they give you fun, but make the historical elements correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes?
Are there any critics?
From you.
Back at home, because actually I'm going to talk about the same issue tomorrow. Trying to analyze the compliments and the criticism at the same time. And most of the criticism actually came from professors of Fine Art Academy, or professors of architecture. One of the reservations is about correct representation of history. Correct in quotation marks.
Yes,
what
of
is
course.
correct? Or an accurate, not distorted, or a more respectful way of representing history to the public.
But when to want to sell this product, sometimes...
Yes, because
I don't know
the
where the
driving
limits.
forces behind all this definitely are more than one.
And also it is dangerous to misread or misunderstand this historical event or things and so forth, and the relationship between different historical figures is also it's complicated. It's a challenge. But now we see it positively because now, younger generation more and more like to understand history through this kind of event.
Right. It's a huge, huge achievement since the curatorship of Professor San Jixiang.
Yeah.
Who actually he did his PhD in Tsinghua University in architecture.
Wow.
I interviewed him.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of times that several of these were very, very popular, and I'm wondering a little bit about the demographics of the popularity, age group, male or female, region, overseas Chinese, Westerners.
That is backdoor data. I cannot access to that kind. And like Tencent and Baidu, those huge companies, they have all this.
They
keep it under the table, so you cannot access to that kind of information. But still, we could, through this kind of interactive information, like bullet screen and this exchanging of ideas and comments, you could draw a rough picture about more and more young people involved in this historical, cultural games.
Yes,
Yeah, I think this is a very good example of virtual heritage. We have a virtual hospital as well.
you do?
Yeah, virtual hospital, you know.
You don't have real patients?
Virtual hospital is trying to teach you how you can realize how surgeons perform the operation.
Okay.
That's close to life. So I can answer the question. The young generations, they love the virtual, like you showed, because they don't want to go to museum, have a long queue, and just he just provide enough. So virtual hospital is also loved by young generation, because they want to know why. Just not only we have hospital and we have surgeons and we go to see the doctor. So that's close to people. Then to get rid of the fearness of the people when they go to hospital. I think this is a very good example of virtual heritage. I love it. And the second example I can also answer the grandpa and grandma. If you are virtuous, they don't need to go to museum. They can show museum to the children. That would provide another care for children.
Especially Dunhuang case. Dunhuang is so virtual. It's dangerous. And more and more people come in with light and humidity and everything ruins painting, the moral. So eventually tourists would be collected to a huge auditorium like that, and to show these digital ones. And ask you to only visit 2 or 3 cases to reduce the danger of damage.
And final comment, if you go to St. Petersburg Museum in Russia, how much time you have spent? People say if you see one piece, 5 minutes, you have to take 8 years to finish. So the virtual museum just hit the spot. This is very interesting.
That's another question.
This is a conflicted question for me because I loved it. And I love the idea. It's fun. I love the idea of bringing it to people, making it available. But I wonder about the commodifying or the sort of trivializing of our art objects as well. I'm thinking of Van Gogh mugs with sunflowers or whatever, or a Starry Night. Suddenly the image, if you saw it, and it has supposedly some content or some response, it's just this image on a mug now. And I think that can happen. But we weigh everything. There are pluses and minuses. The plus of making it accessible is fantastic.
Exactly. Chinese patterns, for example, certain animals or certain plants represent a certain meaning, like pine trees always about longevity, and some certain bird is good for your fortune, and so forth. But now, let's see that Dunhuang silk discussed. That program, they have those different elements, patterns. But actually, traditionally, certain patterns have a certain way to combine, but not randomly.
Yes.
So how to teach correct knowledge of this traditional culture and meaning and the significance is really a challenge.
We need to do it. I will just say that I saw a Chinese song bowl in a museum. It was in just by itself. And it sat there in its presence. And I just got teared. I started to cry because it was so beautiful. But I don't think I would have that experience if I saw it on a screen.
And the youngsters, I think they form the largest sector of so-called cultural consumerism. They buy those commodities, those products in Taobao.
But it's equalizing too.
Yes, listen, I think part of this discussion, which is very interesting, I was very impressed with everything I saw. And we often have this type of discussion also, for example, with Brazilian so-called historical novels, right? That also distorts the details of the past. But I don't think we should be that concerned, to be very honest. Because, again, I think when we discuss about education, because this is about cultural education, we have always to think what is our starting point. The starting point is that people are disconnected from heritage. So anything that can bring them back is better than being disconnected.
Yeah.
The alternative, because we have to think what is the alternative. The alternative is to restrict access to that sort of cultural diversity understanding to a minority elite.
Yeah.
So, okay, they will make mistakes, but we also make mistakes. If you ask me for details of, let's say, second half of the 15th century and first half of the 16th century painting in Italy, I might get it wrong, right? So, and who cares?
Yeah.
In the end, the idea is let's become more intelligent, more clever, because we have more information, and then eventually part of that information we will get it right, and the rest we will get it wrong. And no one cares. It's a little bit like restaurants. Some are better, the others are not. So.
But Luis, I agree with you, but you have to take into account the state of the art.
Yes, of course.
This is important.
But when Michel says 20 million people go and see these things, we have a channel of television in Portugal, RTP2. There's always this discussion. I don't watch RTP2. I don't, because occasionally there are programs that can teach me something, because most of the times they're less than what I already know. But for the majority of people, they are completely unreadable. Right? So, and then because we only have that alternative, the opposites, the other channels of television, I also don't watch, because it's lousy soap operas and reality shows with naked people and so on. So, this, I think, is an interesting intermediate. Then, of course, we have to intervene. We have this is part of what we were discussing. If we take the lead, if we in the humanities take the lead in trying to help doing this, it will be well done. Because if it's popular, because there is a need. Now, I like the idea of the virtual hospital. And the moment you will get virtual diseases, I love them. The problem is the other diseases, but I can change. I don't want the other diseases, it's only the virtual.
But I prefer the nothing than the outdated. I prefer nothing than the outdated. Because the outdated story sometimes is fake. So we will be very careful about what kind of information we...
No, but I think what we saw is there is an attempt to do it right. And as in any case, there will... But think of school manuals about history. They're terrifying, right? Always the answer, I think, is intervene and make it better. But the tool itself is a good tool.
You know, in addition to the sort of nebulous idea of getting it right, there's also, you know, the sense of how the past is present in the present, and that brings up the issue of respect. And I know the light show was, you know, denounced by many, many people as being disrespectful and not, you know, sort of expressed fears that now, you know, we're going to, in a sense, alienate ourselves from our past culture. And then on a related theme, what I can't remember the name of it, but that enormously popular TV show, and then on many streaming channels, about the life in the Qing court where the concubines, you know, and I believe that the government now has condemned that as a sort of, you know, so you get into this issue of what the past means in the present, and it becomes, you know, what is the correct attitude toward the past? And this is a very dangerous business, and I think as you know, scholars and humanists, we have to really understand what we mean about you know, how we relate to the past. And I have no answers, but I mean, I think it's, you know, one of the most important things for us to think about.
Okay. Last question, Jessica.
It's more of a comment, because I think whoever did like the social media, really, they did their homework. I was watching it, I really enjoyed it. I think sometimes when like museums or cultural organizations try to target social media to young people, they don't quite do their homework. They don't catch some of the like memes, and the thing with like social media culture is it's always changing. And for younger people, they can tell, they know when something is not quite actually relevant, but they did an amazing job. I was entertained. I think it's great, especially the usage of emojis. Since they're used so much, it's almost its own language, really. That was my commentary.
I'm glad to hear that.
But that will be a kind of very, I don't know what word we use. People like you might get a kind of like impression or understanding or cognition that that's Chinese royal, you know, rituals. But actually, it's not that right. You know, this kind of projection might tell a self-false story. So that's something
of course.
People are concerned about.
Basically what you're saying is that you get very knowledgeable about something that it's not true.
That's right.
And whether that's important or not, whether that's valuable or not. Know a lot of something that doesn't exist.
The Confucius Institutes were criticized at home because those institutes just they showcase dragon dances, Chinese cuisine, Kung Fu, etc. But the essence of the most beautiful thing of Chinese civilization is much more than that.
No, that is of course.
But you know, many of our foreign friends get the impression, oh, that's Chinese, that's cuisine, dragon dancing. But we don't. I'm sorry to confess, we don't take that part as Chinese culture. That's just maybe because Chinese were like 1/8 of the iceberg, maybe less than 1/8 of the iceberg. So that's the thing we are a little bit concerned, skeptical about all these commercial promotion of cultural heritage.
No, this is of course a very important aspect to take into consideration. Still, I think that the tools are good tools. And so the problem of the message is of having precisely the collaboration of scholars and so on, to a certain level anyway. whenever you translate into different cultures and you portray what is to be a Portuguese or what if, it's always a caricature.
Right.
So we also have to be careful on this. I think that mass communication of culture, whichever it is, even if it's done by, what is Italian painting? Ah, you said it, Mona Lisa. Oh, is Mona Lisa Renaissance painting? But you go to the Louvre, and people pass, like in the tube, by thousands of fantastic works of art, and then they pack in a room, in a religious attitude, where there is a tiny painting behind a bulletproof glass, and no one can see. The only person I know that saw this Mona Lisa was my daughter when she was 3, because we went there, and everyone was, I had 3,000 people between me and Mona Lisa, and my daughter simply went. And then I asked, did you see? And she said, yes. What was it? Nothing. So yeah, but it's the image, right? Italy is this. So I'm not that worried, to be very honest, because I think now, because of these things, it's a caricature of China, yes. Every time it's a caricature of Europe, of Portugal, of Africa. But if curiosity is made, there is a recognition of a cultural, different background in the otherness. This, I think, it's a game. It's a game. So, what I pity is, for example, that Chinese restaurants. You should actually have Chinese restaurants in China. Because the Chinese restaurants we get here, I never found them in China, right? So you get this caricature, right? So it's the same thing. I went to Brazil with Ingelor 20 years ago, and in the hotel there was something like called the Portuguese steak, and they had Portuguese steak, and they had some other Portuguese things. There's even a Portuguese pizza. So what is a Portuguese pizza for granted? Anything with lots of onions. So you get anything, chop soy, something, and onions, and it becomes Portuguese. and I had the cook from this hotel, the Dalila, one of the hotels where I used to stay. I said, why do you call it Portuguese? And he said, like, this guy is ignorant. Obviously, because there are onions. So, okay, we don't eat like that in Portugal, but that's fine. Okay, Sarah wanted to ask something.
I could comment to what the lady was saying. I think, first of all, I really like this presentation. It's, in many regards, the same discussion we are having, for example, rock art. We are trying to find a path, a safe path to show rock art to the world, taking into account the conservation issues that we are facing. And I understand the dangers of giving the wrong message or very characterized message. But I think also that people, if they like, they will look for more. They go after more information. If they really like and resemble the message, if they understand and like it, they go and look for more. They will be interested. They want to go to the places. I believe that, and I want to believe that. So I think this is exactly what Professor Stelek said. The first step, we have to do something to connect people to culture more. And I think this is a very good example, taking account of the technology that we have today. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ciao.